Boudin stuffed bell pepper and onions. I'm stuffed, but it's plate licking worthy. You've got to try this recipe on You Can't Tell a Fat Man Nothing. Check it out. So today on You Can't Tell a Fat Man Nothing, I've been hungry for some stuffed bell peppers, and that's what I'm going to do. That's what's on the menu. But I'm going to do a little shortcut. I'm not going to go full blown. I'm going to try to take it a little easy, make it a little quick, but I'm going to add a little spin to it. So follow along so you can watch me how to make stuffed bell peppers on You Can't Tell a Fat Man. You know, they should really make a song. You can't tell a fat man nothing. You can't tell a fat man nothing. All right, so your first step is get you some bell peppers, wash and clean them, get them all ready to be cut. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the tops off of these, but we're gonna save some of this so we can put it into a pot and saute in just a second. So get you a bell pepper, cut the top off, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna hollow the inside of that bell pepper just like this. Just clean it out, just like that. Let me get these done. I'm going to show you the next step. All right, so I got them all hollowed out, and I have these rings left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just dice these up, and I'm going to saute these down with a stick of celery, and some onions for the Holy Trinity. All right, so I have my onions, my bell peppers, and my celery stalk cut up. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some fresh sausage. I'm going to take it out of the casing now. You can use, normally people use ground beef, like a pound of ground beef. Just brown that up and then put your Holy Trinity in there and brown it up. But I'm going to take this out. I'm going to use this pork and beef sausage, but I'm going to take it out of the casing and I'm going to brown it up just like I would ground beef. So let me get this in the pot and browned up, and we'll add the Holy Trinity in there as well. And I'll show you a little bit in just a second. Be right back. All right, I got my sausage going into my pot. Again, use ground beef if you don't have access to fresh sausage like I do. Just like this. This is a Louisiana sausage here. And then just break this up if you have a ground beef breaker or whatever. I like to use a potato smasher. From my Taco Bell days, this is what we used to use to break down the taco meat back in the day. For all my Taco Bell people, you remember the big old rake, huh? So we'll get this browned up. I'm going to add some seasoning to this. I'm going to use Best Stop. You can use Tony's, you can use salt, pepper, you can use whatever you want. I'm not going to overly season it, but I'm going to season it some because one of the products I'm going to use in a little bit is already going to be seasoned up. So let me get this browned up, and I'll be coming back to show you how we're going to add our Holy Trinity, because it takes a rocket scientist to add the Holy Trinity to this, okay? Okay, I got my ground sausage all nice and fine, just like it would be like ground beef. I'm going to give me a little scoop right here like that. Look, it takes a rocket scientist to do this. I had to show you that. I don't know why, but I had to show you that. All right, so I got my Holy Trinity in there. I'm going to put me some garlic. I have some whole garlic. I just don't feel like chopping it up. There ain't much garlic in here, so I'm going to add a little water in there, just a little bit. I guess I'm not adding no water. I don't know, I just going to do that. Okay. Let me get this vegetables all translucent and some water in here. I'm going to put it in there. Not much water, just a little bit, but I do want to get these onions translucent and transparent. Okay, I lied. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder. I don't know why it is. It's just one of those little staple things I like to do and add. So I'm going to add a little bit of garlic and onion powder. All right, while your onions and stuff is sauteing, I'm cheating on this little stuffed bell peppers. You know, normally you would make your meat dressing with rice and onions and all that kind of stuff, and you cook it down. I'm actually going to use some Boudin. It's a Louisiana, well, this one's not a Louisiana Boudin, but it is a Boudin. I'm going to cut which I would rather have Best Stop Boudin, because you wouldn't need nothing to add to this, but I'm using my son. He got this from I believe Bucky's, but we're going to try it and see. That's why I'm kind of using it up with a little bit of stuff. But anyway, It is a good boudin. It's not bad boudin, but it's not Louisiana style boudin. It's just a rice dressing with some meat. What we're going to do is we're going to take it out of the casing, and we're going to go ahead and stick it inside this pot. Or not pot, this bowl. Why do I always get my words mixed up? I don't know. But let me get this all undone and unstuffed so I can have it stuffed in the bell peppers. So let me get this out of the casings. All right, I have my sausage mixture or ground beef mixture if you're using that, all sauteed with these onions. Now, normal stuffed bell pepper, you would put cooked rice with this, make a gravy and your seasonings and all that. But I'm using boudin, like I said. I don't think I needed 4 links, but that's what I had and that's what I'm going to use. I'm actually going to add this ground beef mixture. See, I'm saying ground beef. This sausage mixture into my boudin to stuff my bell peppers with. And once I get that done, I'm going to add 1 can of Rotel to this, juice and all. And then just like that, put that to the side. Clean up my little mess right here. 1 can of Rotel in here, juice and all. And then also, I seen somebody on TikTok use scissors to cut up green onions. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use some scissors to cut up green onions. Although I like to just chop it with my knife. But I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna do this whole stalk of green onions. I like a lot of green onions. I'm gonna save some to garnish. Just like this. Now give this a big mixture. Mix all this together. Get everything incorporated. All right, if I haven't told you also, go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Now I'm gonna get my pan that I'm gonna put my bell peppers in. I'm gonna make a little sauce in here, tomato sauce. 1 small can of tomato sauce at the bottom. 1 can of Rotel tomatoes. And just kind of mix this up a little bit. Then I'm gonna season this up a little bit with some Best Stop season. Salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, whatever your heart says for you to do. Or your ancestor says, hey, use that seasoning right there. That's what we're gonna do. All right, I'm gonna use some salt and pepper. And I'm also gonna put a little sugar in here to help with the acidity of the tomatoes. Ooh, if I can reach. Go gadget arms. All right, and just a little bit of sugar. Just like that, and then mix this together. And then we're gonna set our stuffed bell peppers in this. Oh, I'm gonna add some butter. Everything's better with butter. All right, just like that. Anyway, some people are asking, like, where do you get this thing called boudin? Well, you Louisiana folks know where to get it. But if you don't live in Louisiana, normally Walmart has it, and it starts with a Z. Zumba, I think is what it's called, and it's not bad. So get you some Walmart boudin and just zhuzh it up, just like I'm doing here with this Buc-ee's one. But if you can find a true, authentic Cajun spiced boudin, definitely use that. You won't need to zhuzh it up like I'm doing here. All right, the next thing we need to do is go ahead and get our bell peppers, and we're just gonna stuff it. Now, some people will add cheese into their stuffing. I am not. I like my cheese on top, and we'll do that once we get closer towards the end. And just, ooh, I made a lot of stuffing. Ooh, let's stuff this real good in there. So stuff it real good. I think we put a little cap on it like that. Just like that. Dome it up a little bit like that. It's gonna expand because your rice. But get it in there like that, and then just stick it into your pan like so. Just like that. Okay? Let me get these stuffed up. I think I'm gonna have to cut another bell pepper because I have a lot of stuffing in here. And I will show you what it looks like before I put it in the oven. 350 degrees is what you want your pre-oven set on. Sometimes this noggin doesn't work all the way, so I have still a lot of stuffing left. All I had was 5 bell peppers, so I did those. I did get a bigger pan to put it in. I just transferred everything in there. I was like, well, what can I do with all this stuffing? I guess I could freeze it if I wanted to. But I was like, I got a lot of onions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hollow out the inside of this onion and throw the onions in there and let this all cook together. And I'm going to stuff these onions. What about that? You can't tell this fat man nothing. No, you can't tell a fat man nothing. Let's see how this turns out. Okay, I got them all stuffed. I even did some onions. Look at that. Aren't they pretty? I had a couple of lids with the tops of them I didn't chop up. I'm just going to put them on there and kind of roast them on there just to kind of be fancy. Now, I haven't made this dish probably 15 years because it's a lot easier just to buy them like at Sam's or Costco when they're pre-made and just stick them in the oven. But I was hungry for some homemade one because I saw someone make some cabbage rolls, and I love cabbage rolls, Mary Connor. And so I thought I'm gonna do some stuffed bell peppers. So that's what I'm doing. Stick this in the oven, put the lid on it, stick it in the oven for about 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna take the lid off and let it brown. Place a slice of cheese on top of that, some fancy cheese, some Kraft slice processed cheese on there, and get it browned up. And that's what I'm gonna do. My voice is going out, so let me get this in the oven and be right back. Alright, so I have probably about 2.5 cups left of stuffing. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the freezer because I'm gonna stuff something to stuff my belly. Maybe a chicken breast, what sounds good with that, or a cabbage, stuffed cabbage. I'm gonna stuff something with it, so put it in the freezer. Okay, so I told you 30 minutes. I just did 30 minutes. It's not done. Remember I told you it was like 15 years since I cooked this? So I said for another 30 minutes, we're going to see how it is. I want to make sure the onions and the bell peppers are softened. Okay, we'll check back in about 30 more minutes. It won't be 30 minutes for you, so don't worry about that. Good Lord, what happened to my hair? But anyway, I'm going to be back in 30 minutes. It'll probably be like a second for you, okay? All right, it's been here for about an hour, actually an hour. Let's see what it looks like. Get our facial. Smells freaking good. Let's see if it's all tender enough. Can you see this? It looks beautiful. Get a fork. Oh yeah, it's getting there. Yep. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in the oven. I'm gonna put a couple of slices of cheese on it, put it back in the oven and let it roast that cheese and melt it and get a nice little coating of brown on it to be right back. And I'm gonna use that fancy cheese. Look at that. Just like that on top. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Okay. I'm gonna just put it on a few. I'm not gonna put it on every single one. I'll just put it on a few, just like that. All right, let me put this back in the oven, get it nice and toasted and brown on top, and pull it back out, and we'll be ready to plate it up. Holy moly. Oh my gosh, look at that. You can't tell this fat man nothing. This does not look absolutely divine. Ooh, I told you it'd just be a minute bag, not an hour. It took an hour and about 10 minutes, but look, it looks tender, it looks cooked fully, and it looks scrumdiddlydelicious. Let's plate this sucker up so I can manger on it. Be right back. Be right back. Be right back. Okay, let's plate this up. Got me a plate. I think I'm gonna give me an onion right there. Oh, look at that. And give me a bell pepper with some cheese. Look at that. Oh, and the angels sing. Can't tell a fat man nothing. All right, I'm gonna cut this onion in half. Got me a knife right here. Ooh. That stuffing is coming out. Ooh, it looks good. Look at that. Now it's time to manger. Holy crap. Even though it took an hour to cook, it's tender. It was so worth it. You're saying, Curtis, where's your greens? It's healthy now. It does need a little salt, I will say, but this is so definitely worth making. Until next time, my friends, can't tell a fat man nothing. Bye.